Thank God you're okay physically. I can only imagine the trauma. I mean, it's a terrifying incident. Can you describe to me exactly what happened? You know, you're flying along. I think in your case, you dozed off, and then what?
Yeah, thank you. It was like a scene out of a movie when actually you're actually in the movie. I had dozed off and luckily had my seatbelt engaged, and the next thing you know, the plane, as I've kind of learned to understand, dropped something to the effect of 500 feet instantly, and then had the effect of it coming like a roller coaster, and then started to point down. And that's when I opened my eyes, and there was various individuals at the top of the plane just stuck to the roof, and then they fell to the floor. And then I just realized I'm not in a movie. This is actually for real, and not dreaming. This is for real.
So when you at first when you're
And then,
dreaming and it feels like a nosedive, there's a moment where you think maybe it is a dream, but you wake up to see
yeah,
someone hitting the ceiling.
and I looked next to me, and the guy was out of his seat and on the ceiling of the plane, and then he fell and hurt himself pretty bad. And then people were screaming and crying, and yeah, it was mass chaos for a few short seconds.
And did there was a moment in your head where you thought, "Oh my God, now this is it. I'm going to die."
Yeah, there was clearly a moment in my head, and then I just kind of resigned to the fact that this could be it. You know, this might be it, and and then the announcement came on: take your seats, please. Anyone, you know, we'll be sending help as quickly as possible. There's any doctors on board, and a few doctors stepped up to the plate and started to give assistance and mend some people up that were bleeding and had various kind of injuries, putting some neck braces on people. It was touch and go.
Oh, so the pilot, after this happens, comes back to check on everybody after the incident,
So
comes over to where
yeah,
you are. Brian, how did he look?
I think he was in shock. I think he felt that he wanted to see what people were going through. He walked to the back, and I immediately engaged with him and said, you know, what was that? And he openly admitted, he said, I lost control of the plane. My gauges just kind of went blank on me. And that's when the plane just took a dive.
So
And
literally, he
he
says the
said,
gauges went blank.
yeah, he said they malfunctioned. Hmm.
And did he say that made it so he didn't have the ability then to even control it, to fly it?
He said for that brief moment he couldn't control anything, and that's when the plane just did what it did, and then he said the gauges came back and then re-engaged, and the plane just re-engaged to its normal flight pattern. And we had no issues before, no issues after, but just that moment.
I
It
mean,
was quite surreal.
that is terrifying. Can I ask you what it was like after this happened and the plane flies again, and obviously the pilots are in the front and you're all back there? Was it silent? What were those last 45 minutes like?
There was 25 minutes of eerily silence from the ones that were okay, and then you could hear people sobbing, and a lot of people kind of in pain with, kind of, yeah, just kind of hunched over, and people shaking, like their hands were shaking, and it was bizarre. It was I have to say it was, and seeing those people flying around, it was like a scene out of The Exorcist. I was like, what is this? It was hard to believe that to see that happen firsthand.